Today's job is to work on this manifold. This is another exhaust manifold I have because I plan to put an underslung exhaust on this, and the U-bend for the vertical exhaust on the manifold that was on the tractor. It would be very hard to get that nut off. As much as it doesn't look like it would be that hard, I can tell you they're very tight and they're roasted on. So for fear of breaking studs, I have this spare one here, and as you can see, both studs are a little worse for wear. So I'm going to hacksaw them off, I'm going to drill them out, I'm going to use a bolt and a nut, and I'm going to bolt on the underslung exhaust pipe that I have there on the shelf for it. So let's start cutting the ends of the studs off and then drilling out. So now I've drilled out the studs, I've flattened this surface a bit. There's a bit of corrosion there. I'm going to keep filing it till I get a bit more of that out of it. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for two nice Ferguson bolts with nice nuts and lock nuts on them. That's going to determine then how much more I have to drill out of them, if I have to drill any more out of them. So here is the underslung exhaust pipe, and here's the two Imperial Ferguson UNF fine thread bolts. They're that little bit stronger. The quality of metal in them is unreal, and there's a new gasket as well that could go on there. So let's try and give this a bolt together, a bit of a dry run, and see how everything fits. So that's how it's looking there now so far. The gasket, so there's a bit more flattening to do anyway. It's definitely, the flange is definitely a bit banana shaped on the manifold, so I'm going to take it off again and flatten that a bit more, as I've been poking a feeler gauge in there and there is a bit of a gap still. So I had to do a bit more flattening on this exhaust flange there to get it flat enough to make a bit of a seal. Now if anyone thinks that when they buy these exhaust pipes that are just going to be a matter of lining them up and pushing the bolts through them, tightening up the nuts, they're mistaken. This exhaust flange on the new pipe had to be flattened as well. It wasn't flat, so, and there's still just the slightest gap in there. It's not squeezing the gasket. So what happens is then when I tighten this to try and squeeze it, it's actually pulling this out of shape. Fairly sure this is fairly flat. I've spent about half an hour filing it. So these parts just aren't they're not precision made, I don't think. But anyway, that should be good enough when I tighten it up a bit more to make a seal. So the next job for this is a shot blaster, because it's full of rust and I want to work on those threads there as well. So let's get this into the shot blaster. So this is the result of a first shot blasting, we'll say a quick shot blasting. I'll be going a bit deeper into the exhaust ports there as well. The odd bit there that could do it, a bit of touching up, but in general now she's after turning out good. I'll hit that with a bit of iron oxide. So I just gave it a coat of iron oxide, and I masking taped up under the flanges and stuff there just to keep the paint off them. I can always sand it off or file it off, but so that's that. When that comes to painting, I'm going to paint that metallic silver, or silver, because that's the colour it would have been when it was new, and that'll match the downpipe and the silencer. So